All right, you ready? All right, so we're going on sustainable alternatives. This is where we're going to go with a little bit about what we can do other than lots of things in our own words.
Give me a read.
Sure, absolutely.
Are we doing sustainable alternatives?
Sustainable alternatives, yes.
Okay. Integrated pest management. Cultural pest control. Modifying the garden environment to hamper pest breeding, feeding, and shelter. Includes choosing plants best suited for a given site. Selecting resistant or certified varieties. Soil solarization, good garden sanitation, and intercropping or companion planting. Mechanical pest controls be the use of hands-on techniques and simple equipment, devices, and natural ingredients that provide a protective barrier between plants and insects. Includes row covers, bird netting, stem collars, fencing or edging barriers, hand picking, traps, attractants, water pressure sprays, insect vacuums, diatomaceous earth, insecticidal soap, and horticultural oils. The last two should be limited around bees and applied at times when those soaps will dry before bees are foraging. Biological pest controls. The use of beneficial insects, predators, parasitoids, and pathogens, and birds, bats, and toads, which are natural enemies of pests, to suppress or prevent a pest outbreak. Includes purchasing and releasing beneficial insects such as ladybugs, green laceweeds, circuit flies, damsel bugs, big-eyed bugs, etc. Manipulating the environment to attract natural enemies, providing a water source and food and shelter by planting appropriate nectar and pollen plants, using cover crops, strip cropping, and providing grass for beetles, reducing and eliminating pesticide use, and protecting natural enemy habitat by reducing dust near trees and shrubs.
It should be debris rather than dust. I think it's a typo. This came off of actually Oklahoma Gardening show from years and years ago. See if I can Oklahoma Gardening's info sheet 3544. It was aired May 2nd and 3rd, 2009. Integrated Pest Management with Tom Royer. So this, if you just Google Integrated Pest Management or IPM with Tom Royer, R-O-Y-E-R, you can find a lot of his videos. I'm sure John has a lot of stuff he can add to this, and some of the other guys that are the gardeners.
That series is available from the Tulsa Library. It's probably available from other libraries too.
Okay.
Pretty good.
And what is it?
It's a whole series on
IPM.
more natural gardening. I wouldn't call
Okay.
it. Not to my standards, but might be to other people's.
Yeah.
The Car Center website has a whole thing on integrated pest management.
Yeah. This Google Integrated Pest Management Oklahoma, and you find a lot of stuff specified for us too. A couple things I want to talk about too here is you can use beneficial nematodes under your hives to help take care of the small hive beetle larvae. Diatomaceous earth is another good one. And we can also use boric acid in our hive beetle traps. The ones that are underneath your screen bottom boards, so the bees can't get to it. So the beetles fall down there and they die. Haven't y'all used that? Did you all talk about using that?
We use the fans that it's the actual ant poison, but it has
Boric acid in it.
boric acid is ingredient. Because actually fans.
But not everybody can do that if you use closed bottom.
No, you have to have screen bottoms with a tray in there.
And also diatomaceous earth, if you trade back into the hive, it can be That's
Yeah.
the one.
I use it in my yard for ticks, fleas and ticks. I mean, there's not many bees in the grass, so. But it helps, it does help. There's a lot of,
The Democeous earth.
DE.
Uh-huh.
The only thing is, if
How do
you
you
have
spray it?
moisture, like we've had moisture this year,
You have to keep
with
doing
the
it.
rain, and the grass is wet, they find bees on there getting water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't drink a whole lot of the water that we had water set, and they were just getting the moisture off the plants and on the grass and stuff this year. We started being sort of.
Yeah, good point.
And maybe it's what toads and diatomaceous soap do not mix.
I make some needles and just pour them underneath my hives. Yeah. But you get those at OKC Organics. If you don't know about OKC Organics, there's a lot of stuff there you can purchase. It's a good place to go to, locally.
Hey, boys,
Yes.
how about putting those, CD cases, you know, on RVs? How about putting in forecast and weather? And put those in.
Well, I thought about doing that too. I mean, I've talked to a couple people that have done that, but they haven't had a lot of good luck with them. They said they can't, because we don't go in there. So,
You know, for the needs.
yeah, well, the ants maybe, yeah. As long as the bees can't get to it, I don't know. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that?
No, bees can't get to it. If you use the slim lines, CD cases, they can't get into it.
Okay.
But we have had some success with the beetles.
Have you?
Yeah, I looked at the CD case, and there was a bunch of dead beetles underneath the CD case on top of the frames.
Huh.
It was really interesting.
No, and then last year, when we used them, I didn't see any beetles when I came out of the winter.
Oh, really?
But I only had one hive left at that time, so. But it's a mixture. You don't just put Vortex.
Yeah, that's something to attract them.
Yeah, we got sugars.
Well, I've heard people putting, like, pollen patties, stuff in there like that, you know, to attract them. I would do that.
Oh, in the cases?
In the cases. Maybe a little
But
bit.
yet, what are you're gonna mix it with boric acid? You gotta have something to kill them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I've also heard people just taking actual bee pollen, you know, granules and putting those in there to attract them to that area. You know, I guess it's whatever.
And it's just those plastic CD cases?
Yeah, plastic CD cases.
Now one, I was looking at, it might have been Barnyard Bees, somebody I was looking at, and it said, that they like to get the cases that are black on the bottom,
Mhm.
because the bees can't see, and I guess the beetles feel safer hiding in there,
Oh, makes sense. They got dark spaces, don't they?
because the ones we have are all clear,
Uh-huh.
so we haven't tried to darken them or anything, and if there's tape, you could put tape on them.
Good thought.
I tried them, I didn't see any beetles in mine.
Well, sometimes they'll just eat and go, and then they'll die later on. Yeah, because sometimes I don't find them inside. Like I said, I found them underneath the CD case.
Or on top of them.
Yeah.
So, but my deal is if they're getting out, they're spreading something around somewhere, you know, so.
Just to clarify, this is fascinating. So you actually took pollen patty material, mixed it with boric acid, and then put it in a CD
Well,
case?
we personally didn't use it, so I
We
actually,
didn't do that, but they said.
yeah,
Oh,
because I just thought.
yeah, sure.
They won't take for gas.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mix it in with the boric acid, and then put it in the CD case, so it just allows it to.
Just make sure it's a slim one, which I think that's all they offer now.
And, yeah, make sure you keep it, it's very closed. I mean, there's so, the holes in the CD are so small, the bees can get it, but the bees can't. And
Okay.
you won't get your mixture,
Right.
poison in the middle of
Right
it.
in the middle, so they can go in there.
So there's a little hole in there somewhere?
Yeah, there's a little.
You gotta flip the sides.
Put it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody bring one for the next meeting
Yeah.
so we can see what it looks like.
Anybody got any?
Wow.
I got some outside.
There you go, go grab it.
Yeah.
One method I did, what do you call this? Is that corrugated plastic? Yeah. Or plastic?
I like yard signs.
Yeah, 3 by 5, and took a knife and cut across, and the pins don't cut through both, and used not say this, but roach proof gel,
Uh-huh.
and squeeze it right in there, put it back together and tape it. And those beetles will go in there and you can pull them go out and there'll be 10, 15 bees and they,
Inside the thing,
inside that.
like a little mouse, the mouse sticky traps,
They eat it,
they go there and die.
and then they die.
And bees also tend to propolis the whole show. The trap.
So say that again.
You say,
Yeah, in case of that corrugated, you know, the channels are like running this way.
Like, politicians.
You take a razor and cut it this way,
Yeah, what?
so you don't cut through the whole thing, and you take that, roach fruit that comes in a little injectable
Combat.
combat, and you can squirt it right there without getting it just in the holes, and when you push it back, it's protected. And then I took black electrical tape and taped it so it wouldn't, and those beetles will run in that hole, and they'll eat that, and they'll die in there. Or sometimes the bees will walk them in, and I've taken them out with 10, 15, sometimes you just kind of knock them out and put it back in there.
So you cut across the channel or with the channel?
across.
Across the channel, so then you've got lots of.
Yeah.
And the bees can't get in there.
The bees can't even get in there if you're using combat or, these are not approved for use in combat.
Yeah.
But if you're using combat or, Bayer's got a rank version.
For use for yards.
Max Force FC. Those are both the same stuff. I was trying to remember what the name of it is. And bees won't touch it. You can put a line of that stuff on the top bar and the bees won't touch it. They don't like it. So you don't have to worry about the bees ingesting it.
These are not approved protocol for us natural people, but they will work. We're talking about all the pesticides. You're like,
Well, this is IPM, that's what IPM is.
Yeah.
You start with the least invasive, and only go out as you have to.
Good.
Keep your own.
No, but the idea of the political sign or whatever is you're not exposing the bees to the stuff.
So where do they go then?
Sides, I'm breaking out the sides.
They're moving up there.
So is this the boric acid with the,
Honey and crystal.
Oh, and flour, there's flour. You're supposed to use soy flour, but I'm not sure why I think for the flour. So we
I can tell her that.
Okay, so bees can't get in that other white flour. Yeah.
Now the issue though, sometimes when you put these on top of the frame,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to have a high floor portion. And the other thing is when you go to sit down, you've got a high full of feet. It can be kind of,
Attack it.
it can be, oh, it's just a pain in the neck, because, you know, they like to come up on the hang on. Every space that's not filled by a bee, they like to fill it.
Yeah.
If you create a space, there's gonna be a bee. So when you put that, you know, there's bees on top of the smoke, a lot of times you try to get it. But if you got a lot of bees in there, it can be, you know, testing, salt.
I'll let show and tell.
Did you guys see
All right, so let's go ahead and move on, guys. Who would like to read the last section there?
I will.
Go right ahead.
Botanical pest controls are as dangerous to bees as other pesticides. Botanical pest controls. Pesticides derived from plants which are considered safer because they degrade rapidly, but must be applied more frequently. These pesticides were widely used before the introduction of synthetic pesticides in the 1940s and 50s. Botanicals have low to moderate toxicity, but are still poisons and can damage the environment. Botanicals stop insect feeding and cause immediate paralysis, but the insect dies over hours or days. This includes contact poisons,
Erythrins,
and,
Correct.
okay, so
Erythrins, yeah, Erythrins, sure.
stomach poisons, which are neem, mineral-based chemicals, sulfur mixed with liquid, mixed with oil, or used as a dust. Other thoughts. Use old methods. Prior to the 1940s and 50s, synthetic fertilizers and pesticides were not available to use. Find and purchase gardening books written prior to that time when organic gardening was just called gardening. Make your own. Mother Earth News, The Dirt Doctor, and other natural sites offer recipes for compost teas, uses for agricultural grade hydrogen peroxide and vinegars, and other homemade fertilizers and pesticides. Consider other pollinators. Sometimes we're so attuned to the needs of honeybees, we forget our wild native bees and other pollinators, beetles, butterflies, birds, and bats. For instance, we often spray at dawn and dusk before honeybees are actively foraging. However, other pollinators are active at those times, and we should keep their needs in mind as well.
So do we have anybody else that has any other late thoughts on organic?
And this last one, it said that consider other pollinators. The problem is we're killing all pollinators.
Yeah.
I'm not just killing bees.
That's that's big. I mean, honeybees are the buzzword. Ever since CCD, that's what really put us on the map. That's where everybody started really thinking about it. That's when millions and millions of dollars start being invested in this. The problem is now so much money is invested in. You get all the chemical companies trying to come up with their deals, and it's just as bad. So, go ahead, John. You have some.
Oh, I was just to share a thought. We used to, we had our farm for 15 years, and we were a certified organic farm. We were pretty hands-off. We just kind of let nature do its thing because we knew that this had an effect. I can think of one time, well, I can think of it. One thing I ironically think of now is we used to use BT all the time, Bacillus thuringiensis, and it's to take out caterpillars. Well, now that I've evolved and I've looked it up and had some epiphanies, it's like, no, caterpillars have their role too, and they have a part in it. And
they turn into beautiful bees
yeah,
and butterflies and moths.
Exactly, beautiful butterflies and moths. They have a place in the environment. They're doing their thing. But I used to spray that on it, and I look back at that now, going, "Golly, why did I do that?" And the same went for, though I think squash bugs deserve a place in hell. Right, ninth circle of hell, as a matter of fact. We used to spray Hyganic, and there's this product that came out from, I forgot the company, doesn't matter, but it was called Hyganic. It was Organic Material Review Institute, for those who know it. OMRI is it's kind of your label of safety. It's OMRI labeled, it's okay. Well, OMRI they gave a blessing to this stuff called Hyganic. Well, Hyganic, it might as well have just been 7 malathion. I mean, yes, it was naturally derived, but it killed whatever it hit. So though I'd be out there in our pumpkin and squash fields spraying left and right with my backpack sprayer, being like, you bastards. I'm sure I was hitting countless, good, lacewings and ladybugs and all that. And when I started to see kind of the effects, like, was I really gaining anything out of this? I just let it go, and we just stopped planting squash and pumpkins anymore. So all that to say, just a personal story to say, doesn't matter where its origin from. If it kills, it kills.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the farm I work in Yukon. We had wildlife department guys come out there. We were talking about how to increase our fish in the pond and all this. This is before we restocked it and had as much wildlife as we have there now. But he says, we as part of the state are happy to provide you if you want to just clean the pond out and just restart. Hey, you're more welcome. And I said, what does that entail? He says, we just dumped 1 gallon. Mind you, this is an acre and a half pond in Yukon. 1 gallon of rhododendron in that pond, everything in it will die. Everything. everything, turtles, fish, birds that come in and eat it, everything dies. And I thought, no,
Yeah.
that's fine, we'll just manage what we can. But it's just, this stuff kills, it doesn't matter if it comes from organic sources or not.
Yeah, we had this such this intelligence now that we've been, we're not really bred, but taught over years and years and years, we don't like to kill it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you drive down the road, you had to wash your windshield every other day.
Yeah.
Because you had bugs all over it. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had to wash my windshield. Yeah. I drove up to St. Louis, I mean, 400 or 500 miles, I think I had to wash it then, but, you know, I was talking to my aunts and uncles, they're all truck drivers down in Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. And they're talking about that, and he goes, yeah, we don't have to do that, and they're on the road all the time. You're killing all the insects.
Well, or you have to clean out your grill.
Yep,
Every so
yep.
often your radiator.
You just get, you know, everything.
They don't kill me everything.
To piggyback on what he said, and I have a huge affection for butterflies, not cabbage moths, but and so I was using BT on cabbage and kale and those kinds of crops. But the thing is, I'm lazy and I don't want to do that. And I found that when I planted purple cabbage and green cabbage, the cabbage moth larva is green. And so my purple crops didn't get hit. Well, they didn't get damaged because a green caterpillar shows up on cabbage and the bird will come along and do my job for me. So there's that. And as far as he's talking about pumpkins and squash and those kinds of things, I think one thing that wasn't covered in here that's really cool is floating row peppers, which you can put across all of those crops and leave them until you get your first female blossom. Because the first flowers that come up are male, they stick up off the plant real high and call attention to bring in the bees. And then the one with the little fruit at the bottom is the female, and that's when you need to uncover them for the bees. You'll be so far ahead that all of the squash bugs will go to your neighbor's house. And then the third thing I wanted to say, we had a crop of about 1,000 milkweed plants that we did for the farmers market this year. And we had, when you have that many milkweed plants in density, you're really going to struggle with aphids. And, people kept saying, well, you can do neem at this point, but, these are food crops for monarch larvae.
Right.
And so I was afraid to do anything. But what I found is you just give it time. You just give it time, and then you start seeing these little white eggs that are on the little filaments. And those are the lacewings coming in. And if you just give it time, nature really will balance it out if you're in a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of things.
Yeah, you get a lot of, you also use a lot of ladybug larvae coming around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of lacewings. Yeah, the lacewing larvae were terrible.
Go ahead.
Just tack on the steps, in addition to the floating row covers, just plant it later. Just plant late. Instead of planting when, okay, we're done with our average age in April, go a whole month and a bit, go to the middle of May, go to the end of May, first part of June. That whole initial cycle that wakes up and hatches and is just hungry for stuff. They've already played out their whole thing. And so by the time you get, your neighbor's house. So by the time you get to the end of May, first part of June, though it sounds late, you still get gobs of pumpkins, watermelons, whatever, or even regular summer squash, just by planting later, and you've already survived the whole cycle. Will they still maybe come in and get it? They could, they might, but you won't have near the volume.
And can I say one more thing to that? Another IPM method for squashes and those kinds of things, the things that get hit really early with bugs, is just plant 1 or 2 plants, let all the bugs come to them, pull that plant up, put it in a plastic bag, tie it, throw it away. So it's called a trap plant. So you've already attracted all of that season's big production.
All the eggs and stuff before they hatch and you just throw it away. Yeah, go ahead.
I've done a lot of research on different habitat plants for predator bugs, and I can bring a list next meeting. But we had very definitive results, because the first year we did this, we had everything in potted plants to try out different things. And we had very little bug problems, very few bug problems. Until we went on vacation, we moved all the pots way away from our garden, which we have an automatic water system. So we were hand watering all the pots. So we moved all the pots away of all these predator bug habitat plants and put them in a big circle and watered them with a sprinkler while we were on vacation. We get back from vacation, and we had a bunch of bugs. So we moved the plants back and the bugs were away. So we tested it, it works.
Another thing I want to mention too, if you know about OSU fact sheets, they got tons and tons of stuff out there. Just search OSU fact sheets. This is one on beneficial insects. This is what some of the research I got here. And it has pictures and I mean, they got stuff up in here. Safe use for pesticides at home and gardens, toxicity of, I mean, everything you can think of. Y'all guys come look at this when you get done with it. I mean, this is how we did our research, you know. This here is the transcript from that OEPA or the Oklahoma Gardening Series I'm talking about. It's kind of like this transcript from it, and it has a bunch of plants and stuff on it, so you can kind of look at, take a picture of it or whatever you want to do. But yeah, you're more welcome to come look at all this stuff when you get done. So,
I can add a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're growing, if you're garden stuff for a farm, you can put, the more input you put into the soil, nutrient-wise, the healthier the plant. If the plant is healthy, it puts off a good vibration, and it attracts only insects like bees or pollinators. It does not attract the pests. If your plant is weak, it will attract those pests because that's what they're part of that cycle.
like the wax moths and honeybees.
Yeah, exactly. And then take it out, that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
The way I kind of look at it is kind of like the plant's immune system. The soil,
Exactly.
health of the soil. I mean,
Yeah, that's what
if you have a healthy soil, you're basically, it's like an immune system for the plant. It has more
Right.
robust defense.
Right.
Plants have natural defenses against pests and things like
Right.
that.
Well, and
They're more robust.
So,
soils.
the better the immune system is in us and in plants and animals, the higher the frequency is that we put off. That's what attracts either good or bad insects or bacteria.
This is a couple of books that I've read and I like. This is Bring Nature Home is probably one of the better books to read. I suggest getting that. You can find it on Amazon pretty cheap. Full of pictures and all kinds of stuff. So you don't, it's not just one of those you just read. Another thing I use too is the Oklahoma Wildflower book. Just if you're out in nature, you can find what plant you have. If you like, it's pretty flower. You can look it up here and find out what it is. I was looking for my Oklahoma tree and wildflower guide. It's a little guide you can take out in the field. It's a little easier in this book. I think like $7 or $8 on my Amazon. A couple of books you can read. Do you mind saying any other books that they would recommend somebody reading? Yes, sir.
Might also take a look at the Metropolitan Library. When we went into beekeeping, they had more books than I could read in the time available about beekeeping and bees.
Yeah.
And anything you want, give them a chance and save yourself $25, $30 a book.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time.
They have a site on their website, if you want to suggest a book for them to buy, and everyone I suggested they purchase.
Awesome.
So I seldom buy a book anymore.
That's a great resource. Today's days with the internet, we forget about the libraries.
Yeah.
But libraries are pretty cool. I know up in Joplin, the library there, they built it brand new. They put a 3D laser printer in there. Everybody can use. So you can print whatever you want to print. Down at OU, they have not the library, but talking about laser printers. They have a laser printer out there that people can go in and use too. So I mean, it's just something off the chest.
I had a book to suggest.
Yes.
It's Growing a Revolution, and it's, I have to look up who it's by, but it's the most hopeful book I've read about climate change, and it is solving climate change by curing our soil. And it was inspiring and fascinating. It's written by a scientist.
Growing the new revolution.
It's called Growing a Revolution.
Revolution.
Bringing soil back to life, and it's by David Montgomery, and the audiobook is really good. It's read by him.
Audiobooks, that's another good thing too. You know, you don't have a lot of time to read or you drive a lot, get some audiobooks or podcasts, whatever. It's a lot of people doing that too. Okay, so that's pretty much the presentation, but we have one thing. It's kind of weird how all this works together. Was it Tuesday?
Yeah, I started this week, probably
Yeah, Tuesday. This is Sharon White. She's, lives over out in Meeker and Craig area, about what, 50 miles from here?
12, yeah, probably about 30.
About 30 miles.
Mhm.
Anyway, so she calls me, she lost 20 hives in matter of a month. And we started, she called me, freaked out, we're trying to figure out what's going on. So we had her, and actually her neighbor, a couple miles from her, lost her 3 hives as well at the same time. Totally, it looked like Wisconsin, there's totally nothing there. So Friday, we called ODAF, the agricultural department, and they came out and did an inspection yesterday. And I went out there and saw that. Just go ahead and kind of tell your story and what.
Well, it kind of, I mean, we're all beekeepers, so we know that sometimes you're checking your hives all the time, but you may not realize that you've got bees maybe dwindling down until they've dwindled so far you realize you've got a problem, you probably can't stop. And we do a lot of festivals in October, so we haven't been home every weekend. But we just kind of started noticing that first in 1 week we had 5 abscond, and I looked at my books and I've actually lost 27 hives. But I checked my books and it started right about the 2nd week of October. But we came home once and we had 3 or 4, I can't remember, hives that had actually absconded, and we kind of just blamed it on the rainy weather, didn't know what was going on, move on, Less than a week later, maybe 3 or 4 days later, we had like 2 or 3 more that had absconded, and again, we're like, okay, what's going on? And so we started to go ahead and feed again, thinking maybe there's not enough around here. We started feeding. Feeders were full, everything looked great. Then we noticed a couple hives just died. Bees in the hive dead, didn't know what's going on. The wax combs, and Forrest can even tell you, to me looked perfectly fine. Then I started having neighbors call because they know that we have a lot of bees. And the ones that are doing 1 to 3, 4, 5 hives, I actually had 2 phone calls back to back, 2 days apart, telling me, help, my bees absconded. And I don't know why, it's fall, they shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like, yeah, mine are doing it too. I don't know what's going on. Then they also had some come back. I had some bees come back. We also, during this time, the ones that didn't abscond, we noticed that the bees had kicked their queens out of their hives. And you can find your queen because you've got a ball of bees around them. And we go out there to do a bee inspection and find a ball of bees. And sure enough, there's the queen out of that box. So we put the queen back in there, leave her caged for a couple of days, hoping that, not sure why they were doing that. That happened to us 5 times in the last 2.5 weeks, that we found our queen in front of the box. I had no clue what was going on. I was lost, and I've been beekeeping for about 5 years. I didn't know what was going on, but when my neighbors started calling and saying what's going on, because they don't know as much about bees. And I said, I don't know, but it's time that we figure out what's going on. So that's when I got a hold of Forrest. I'm like, oh, please help. I don't know what this is. I went through, checked every disease I could think of to check on. I didn't know what else it could be. Also, we do our mite. We do a vapor mite control 4 weeks in a row, like clockwork. We also did a mite count at the end of everything, 0 mites. And the absconding happened, the first absconding, according to my books, happened 6 days after we did our mite count. So it was not mites that caused our bees to abscond. And then Forrest contacts me and says, after I did some research and some checking with people, sounds like it's pesticide. We live in the middle of nowhere. I don't live in the middle of a big, crop area. It's a lot of trees.
In the cross timbers is where she lives.
Yeah,
They put
a lot of
trees all
trees.
around her.
But we did find out that I knew we had a pecan orchard 4 miles from our property, but I found out after the Oklahoma tag called me while they were doing a drive around and said that, they said, yeah, we found the pecan orchard that you told us about that's 4 miles away, but there's another one only 2 miles from your house. I didn't even know that was there. I guess, I don't know that much about trees. I'm gonna get the books. I need to learn. But anyways, so they took bees. They're gonna be doing some testing. My neighbor who lost her bees sent her dead bees to the Maryland University to have them tested there. We're gonna find out what it is. But guys, I kid you not, I had the strongest hives I've ever had. We had 100%, we split every one of our hives this summer. We had 100% mated queens come back, and that's never happened to us. I don't know if that's, I mean, it just doesn't happen. But we had strong hives. We had, I just can't even tell you how strong our hives were. And just so fast, they're dead. Just kill them so fast.
So I went out there, so we called ODAF and set an appointment, so we'll be there. So we called on Wednesday.
Yes, they were very quick.
They showed up Friday morning at 9 a.m. They were there, and I went out there with them. And I can attest, I went out there, you know, I seen the apiary bee yards that were just dirty, trashy stuff that's, you know, old comb laying around. It's just filthy. Hers is in perfect condition. I mean, everything is perfectly lined up. Everything's clean. All the boxes are painted and look good. I mean, there's no trash laying around, nothing. And you open up the boxes, all the comb inside there was all brand new comb, maybe a year old at the most. No dark black comb. I expected to go there and go, okay, well, it's all black comb. You go comb. So I was totally shocked that it's all brand new stuff. Or not brand new, but at least it would be a year or so old. And so we got to talking to the wildlife guys, not wildlife guys, the ag guys, and the pesticide guy drove in from Bristol.
Bristow.
Bristow.
Mhm, Bristow.
And then there's another ag guy that lives there a couple miles from us. So they both came over and they did an inspection. And so we were talking, we're like, what can this be? And they're like, well, there's nothing going on right now that could cause that. You know, no weak fields are being sprayed, no, you know, whatever. Well, we started talking, and about a month, well, about the time all this started happening, just before that, her husband saw a crop duster fly over. So we don't know, we have proof yet, but we're suspecting that crop duster went over to spray at the corn orchards. And
they spray for worms. About the beginning of October, they start spraying for the worms in the ponds.
It was all drift, and it's up in the air, you know. We talked to Agriculture as well. They're not supposed to spray when it's, you know, winds over 3 miles an hour or 8 miles an hour. They have all this protocol they gotta go through. I'm like, really? They think we don't follow that? It's Oklahoma. It could be not windy right now, and 5 minutes later, we totally, you know, blowing down the house. So they were helpful, but they were trying to figure out another reason why, other than the pesticides.
I gathered that too.
So
trying to blame my feeders.
she had a feeder.
I
there.
had a feeder out because they were in trouble, and I knew it a week ago. So I put a feeder out.
So she put a feeder out, and the little, what do you call minor bees?
Yeah, we had minor bees.
The minor bees were
They're dark bees.
like little wasps. I don't know if you've ever seen one. I didn't know what they're called. They're like really small little yellow jackets we're feeding on. Well, he's in there watching them. He's like, well, I'm watching this, and he flies in and drinks, and all of a sudden he falls off. He goes, well, I think it's in your water. Well, it's 50 degrees. That water is like probably 30, 40 degrees, a surf at 30, 40 degrees. I'm thinking, well, it's just too cold for them. And as it warmed up, more came. They start flying off.
They were fine, yeah.
And then the bees start coming in and all that stuff. And we're like, it's not this surf. So we're waiting on the report to come back. It's going to be this about maybe 90 days before they get their report back.
He said at least 90 days.
At least 90 days.
Sometimes longer.
And then we also have the Maryland report back. So once we get all that back, we're going to do a composition of what those results were, see if we can find out what it was. And I'm planning to go over and talk to the pecan guys and see if there's anything we can work out. You know, at least let them know what's going on. So maybe they'll lose their hives or whatever. Yeah.
Rings a bell, depending on what y'all find out. I'm so sorry to hear about all that. There is a department within the Department of Ag here in Oklahoma. It's called the Mediation Department. And it's just that. It's for farmers that have had somebody have something happen to, you know, somebody else. I got to hear from other people a long time ago, but it's basically to avoid a lawsuit, but to make sure everybody's square. And if a lawsuit has to happen, it does. But
Well, I was extremely
This isn't the only year. This has been going for 5 years, since I
Yeah.
always had a few die-off each year, she always went for something
Yeah.
else.
But this year was different with bedworms.
Yes,
It was
that's what I'm
very
saying.
different with bedworms.
That's why I told you guys, that it's been so wet here.
Oh,
you know,
really?
weather because-
Yeah, I parked my car under a pine tree, and I've never had this happen. My car was so covered in shit. But I had to wait for it to rain several hours, take my car to the car wash, use the scrub brush, spend like $4 or $5 washing it after the rain had already softened it, then go home, take a bucket of warm water and a toothbrush to get all this poop. And it just coated my car.
Oh, so that's interesting, because Forrest was fixing to say, I told him, I said, you know, it's really weird because we'll have a great summer. This is the first year we had this many hives. But every summer we have a great summer. We do everything that everybody says to do, and we stay on top of it. But every fall, we will lose 2 to 3 hives. This is the first year we've lost everything. So that's interesting that
We
you
had
say
a
that,
really
because they
mild
may have
winter.
oversprayed.
Yeah, we had a mild winter, and the webworms were insane
Yeah.
this year, insane.
And the same neighbor that lost 3 hives this year, the same time that we lost ours, she said that she had 2 hives year before last and the year before last, and for 2 years in a row, she lost both of her hives in the fall time. But she only had 2, so and I'm like, well, I lost a couple too, but I had like 10 at the time.
But they may be
So-
just spraying really aggressively.
So that's exactly my thoughts.
That makes a lot of sense.
So we're hoping to get this results back, and if that's the case, we're gonna try and do some mediation with the pecan growers. And, you know, I don't know if we can get any, you know, any money out of it or not, but we're gonna try, we're gonna do our best to see what we can do to try to, you know, compensate her, because, I mean, this is, you know, she got records showing what everything happened, you know, when it happened, so.
But did you notice the letter that I forwarded you from the Oklahoma Ag Office that said, we will go out there, if we find out they were illegally using something or whatever, that, you know, the state will penalize them and the state can fine them, but you cannot go after them for anything. So it's like, okay, so the state's gonna make money off of this, at least put it somewhere in a budget where it can help other beekeepers or even other agricultural people be able to stop this from happening to
I don't
them.
know how that works, but I heard
Yeah.
I heard one case, a similar case up in Tulsa area, that it was proven that this was done, and then instead of going to court, they paid this person some sum of money, I don't know what some money was, for doing what they're supposed to begin. I don't know if it was legal or not or whatever, because maybe he was saying, as long as, you know, as long as they're following their protocols, as long as there's nothing we can do.
You made sure we were clear on
Yeah.
that, that's for sure.
And they're not gonna tell you, you know, they're gonna be very careful with this.
In other words, though, the way I took it was that the people that are using the pesticides have more rights than we do with our bees on our property. And he said, well, your bees might went over to their property and that's how they ingested it and came back. So.
And that's something
Shame on our
we're
bees.
working on also.
Now, I got a question. Are those pesticides though, certain pesticides, if contact is made by a pest outside the colony, whether it's ants or bees or whatever, only affects those bees that contact that pesticide. That doesn't necessarily mean that if they bring it back in, it's going to affect the whole colony. So does this pesticide, if those were affected there and not killed there and made it back to the hive, would it affect the hive when it came back?
Like I said, that's something that we're on to kind of figure out as we go. It's like, so I mean, I was working on this presentation, and then she calls me, I'm like, how's this, you know, it's all kind of coming in together, so we're gonna play it out, like, you know, play it out, see what happens.
Well, if you lost so many hives, the pesticide probably came into her yard.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, the last thing I lost in any of the hives were my queens, and one of them I sent home with a little handful of bees, the only queen that was left, to Forrest. He's kind of watching her, we're trying to see if she perks back up, I guess, and if she survives.
I checked them, I brought them home last night, fed them, and they were active, so I haven't checked them in been so busy, but like, I want to check and see if she's still alive.
They did not, we asked them, didn't we?
Yeah.
They did not hardly, they took, I think, one dead bee,
Well,
and some of my water, some of my feed.
The way it works, they have this little aluminum metal foil
I put them
plastic
out there and
bag
they took
thing,
the samples.
and he scooped up maybe a couple of bees, out of a couple different hives that were dead, put them in his bag, zipped it up, and then that was it. Then he went over to her feeder and got a quart of her feed, because she makes fat feed man, trying to be healthy. And that's what he was going to blame. That's what he's.
Yeah, he's blaming it on that.
It's easy to blame.
Yeah, it's easy, 'cause, you know, so that, I mean, make it affordable for us, we want to make our own stuff, but I think in this case, it may hamper us because we don't have a formula that's, you know, proved and tested. You know, you can't prove it, you know, there's no way you
Right,
can
but
say.
he did call me back and he asked me if I put that in all of it. I said, no. I put the Honeybee Healthy formula in my first feedings during dearth and my first feeding during fall, right before winter and everything. I did it this time only because my bees were in trouble and I'm grasping for
Well,
it.
no, I mean,
So it's not being used all the time.
Does that go to the same place that the bees are gonna be tested?
The liquid.
No,
We don't know. It's probably the state.
I don't know where you work.
Wherever they send it, they won't have any control over what the results are.
That's true, yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, even if he wants to point blame, thinking it's this,
Well, when
they send it off, he
So
won't.
when you start talking about that, I'm like, well, no, I mean, only I can see that she makes a homemade remedy. So maybe the ratios were off or whatever. So she popped it open and I just took my finger in and tried it. It tastes like I make mine. So I don't think she overdid anything. So.
OSU Extension has a fact sheet on the calendar for pecan growers that says.
Yeah, I've got it.
You got that?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what you sent me.
Yeah, I've got a second paper like this on pecans right now I'm going through. But, so that we're working on that hopefully. And I'm really encouraged to see the Maryland test results because they test for every disease, pathogen, insecticide. They test a full spectrum. So we'll see what that comes back as too. If it was just her hives, you could think, well, maybe just something she did. But I whenever friends of friends are dying, in the same area. So.
We're 3 miles apart.
Did you go see where the 2 mile pecan?
I did not know.
I haven't. My husband and I are going to go do it Monday. He works Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday, 12-hour shifts. So.
I mean, is it a planted orchard or is it native?
That's.
I think they're planted.
I think so. I know the one that's 4 miles from us is, and it's one of those that, they get out with the shakers.
Never spray native pecans.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it was native, because the natives don't produce like that. So we're in the process of doing that. We're doing all that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next few months.
So did you lose all your hives?
I did. I did it.
Well, I got one queen.
Yeah, one queen too. In my books, I think it was not this past Friday weekend, this past Friday, but a week ago this past Friday, I had 7 hives. And then by Tuesday, I had 2 queens left and about this many bees, 10 bees. That was it.
So.
Yeah, that's how it's just so fast, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy how.
And if your hives ever start kicking queens out, kind of get suspicious right then that something's going on. Because like we were talking about, there was something in that hive that was killing them, or they were bringing back, and they just didn't like it, so they were trying to get her out and protect her. Or she
And I was going to take any wax samples to
Yeah.
see develop the wax. But the wax is brand new, so.
Yeah.
So is that wax still gonna be good in that hive?
They're not going to use it.
We're not going to be using any of that, and we're going to be hosing down boxes and all that. But again, it's going to also depend what the test results are when they come back, whether or not we just burn the boxes, if they're contaminated, or where we go from there.
You can look like that. Often you just take a torch and torch them.
Yeah. We also talked about doing that. So we're just kind of waiting. We're on a 90-day wait now. We don't know what to do at this point until we know what it was.
So that's kind of interesting.
Wow.
Something that kind of coincides.
90 day wait.
Yeah.
90 days, it's a minimum of 90 days. For the state of Oklahoma, I don't know in the Maryland one, and I asked her, let me just check something real quick. I asked her, and she said that they did not tell her how long the testing would be. They just said, don't be in a big hurry because testing takes time. But Maryland will check for a whole bunch of stuff. Where Oklahoma said they can run 2 tests. And that's why they're going to do one on the bees for test and one with the liquid and for chemical. And other than that, that's all they said they're allowed around.
That's what I'm
Is this
saying.
the only time they're gonna spray it?
No, they do it every year.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I thought about that, but my neighbor is
But you
just
don't wanna lose
literally
that.
3 miles from me, so I'm guessing whatever.
Does they charge, you know if they charge her to do that?
I can ask for that.
Find out how much it charges. Find out how much it is. Because if we're only going to test for two, we can only test for 2 things.
Yeah, that's what he told us.
For free.
But I,
You can do that, but also gets hacker being thing, you know, spend a lot of money.
yeah,
Yes, and come back saying, well, we don't know,
Yes,
because it only.
undetermined. Yeah.
yeah. And that's probably what our upcoming test will come back as, is
That's what it's-
undetermined.
All right, guys, well, it's getting, we got about 45 minutes left, so, you don't have to use the whole time. I just want to, today we talked about a lot of heavy stuff and not so pleasant stuff. I hope this helps everyone realize the damage pesticides are doing and everything, every living thing in the world. I think it kind of helped at it. You know, I kind of realized how bad it is. Since I've been doing this, I've been thinking about what we could do. So I've decided over the next few years, I'll be mounting a campaign to limit and hopefully end the use of most pesticides in Oklahoma. It's going to be a marathon. I know I'll get bloody, but I'm ready to take this fight on. Because somebody has to do it before it's too late. So I'm going to pull my resources together and hopefully get some people together to help me with this. I've been extremely lucky the past few years to be part of several different groups. One with the same interest. I have contacts with environmental groups, native tribes, school teachers, city and state governments. So I hope to bring all these people together at one table so maybe we can get something done. So the more everybody knows, the better off we are. Even if we don't get anything done, at least we can spread the word, maybe open some eyes. Again, we're a small group of people, brand new, it's only our 4th meeting, so please tell all your friends about us. We need every warm body we can get. We're going to be a big fight. I don't know if you guys have realized or not, but we're kind of like, I call us the hippies of beekeeping. You know, no one really wants to, you know, believe what we're doing or say it's all junk. So we need all help we get and everybody talk it up and, you know, get everybody interested in it. I have finished the bribe for Ken Davis for the meeting for the fall or the spring. So I'll be delivering it to him middle of this month. So he's all excited. I had a 4-hour meeting with him a week or 2 ago, and he's so pumped about what we're doing here that he's said that he will come and do all his classes and not charge us. All he wants to do is push his, what does he call it? His personal advisor, you know, program or whatever, get people to do a monthly service fee or whatever. I'm not sure if people come and do your classes for free. You can push that. So we'll get some of these classes going. Now, been thinking more about this fundraiser we're going to be doing next spring with Ken. I need to kind of get a group together that would like to brainstorm to get stuff we can do. This will be our first event. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Big Bee Buzz, but I want something similar to that. You know, we'll have some breakout sessions, maybe different speakers, make the day of it. We got the facilities here to house 300 people. It'd be nice if we get 300 people. You can bring food in, food trucks, whatever. I mean, it's open to whatever we want to do. And then, of course, it's finding the money to do whatever we can. So I'm also trying to get some donations from different places. So if you have any ideas or want to be part of it, let me know. Do we have any other questions or anything else about what we talked about today? Anything popped up in anybody's mind? Yes.
I just wanted to say, I just asked Carly what she's being charged to test her bees in Maryland, and she said nothing.
Nothing, really?
Yeah. So.
Send me that information so I can send it out there.
I'm sorry?
Send me that information she had on how to do all that.
Okay, okay.
So kind of like an info sheet.
Okay. I'll give her that. I'm surprised too, so.
That's also, that's USDA.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, in conclusion, this is how I end all my presentations. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. I'll blow up a cost.
Of course, I think there were 2 more.
Oh, it was? Okay, I'm sorry. This one.
I was gonna say, No, I think some of these departments get money outside money. They don't just get money from the state or from our taxes.
I'm sure they're
So I'm wondering if those guys that came out and tested that were kind of downplaying that, if that department is getting some money from.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure. I mean,
Well, because, I mean, I know now OSU, the ag department gets money from Monsanto and other, and they're not specifically state, but they are a state school.
right, yeah.
So I don't
They
imagine.
don't care where they get the money from. That's one other thing, when you're out pushing for donations and stuff like that, I mean, or looking for grants or whatever, you really have to be cautious because it can sound beautiful, free money for seeds to plant gardens or whatever, and you get down to fine print, sponsored by Bayer, they have some fancy name, you get down there, it's Bayer, or whatever. So,
I tack on what you're saying, sir. I agree with that 100%. I don't know that it goes down to the inspectors actually out in the field.
no,
But
but their bosses.
really,
Department itself, but
yeah, the department itself, I mean, sure, OSU has countless studies going on all the time on different crops, and they are, fine.